Good Sunday, everybody. Welcome to Breaking Chains, our weekend book club. And we are on episode 17 of reading Hope, a memoir of survival in Cleveland by Amanda Berry and Gina DeJesus. And we did not meet last week, partly because my lovely co-reader was out of town on business, and partly because I was working on a very time-intensive video and wanted to focus on that. So we are back. Hello, Miss Cinnamon Girl.
Hello, Miss Lynn. How are you?
Good. I saw you coming up, and I was like, "Uh-oh, her camera's on." So I
I
was
know. I know. Sorry. And I look a fright today.
no, no. I just I was like, I want to make sure. Are you sure
Are
you
you
want
sure?
to?
Maybe one day we will, but not today. Yeah,
So
I had hat hair. I just came in from a hike. I took my hat off. My hair's all weird. My glasses are on, so yeah.
is it raining where you are?
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's been super cold, and
yeah.
uh, we have like freeze warnings going on until I think Monday or Tuesday. But no rain yet.
Oh, well, that's good.
Is it raining down by you?
Yeah, yeah, it's a little bit. But I do want to welcome people coming in. If you're new to this channel, hello, welcome, Sammy. If you're new to this channel, because I've gotten a few new subscribers lately, I do this weekly book club, and we're reading this book in particular because it talks about these two young women, or actually there were three young women, but these are two young women who wrote the book, who were all kidnapped by the same guy, but at separate times. And then 10 years after they were kidnapped and held captive in the basement in Cleveland, Ohio, they escaped and they survived. And one of them even had a child by their captor. And it was okay, sounds good, Sammy. Oh, also, please remember to hit the thumbs up. Thank you very much. And so, and I really like to get deep inside the minds of people's experiences. And so this helps us get deep inside the minds of the kidnappees and the kidnapper, at least to the extent that, they are sharing what their experience was with him. And the last time we all met, it was really heavy. It was really heavy because in one chapter, one of the girls' mothers died, and while the girl's mother died not knowing she was alive, and so the girl had to experience seeing that her mother died and not being able to go to her funeral, being toyed with about that by Ariel Castro, her captive or captor, sorry, and then getting pregnant and having that baby all in the same chapter. And the baby came on Christmas, which is so surreal. So, yes, one of the mothers, Amanda Berry's mother, passed away, and the mother never gave up looking for her, but was fierce. She was one of those mothers that was like, the police aren't doing enough. They aren't doing enough. And she would, make protests and stuff like that. She was a very fierce, outspoken mother, and she never gave up. And we also learned a lot about the social dynamics between the girls who are being held captive. Ariel Castro, their captor, definitely triangulated them. He would tell them, he would say things to each of the girls. He would separate them from each other. He would only allow them to come together when it was convenient for him, and when he needed them to be together. At one point, his daughter insisted on being able to come over to the house, so he made the girls stay in one room, and then at another point he made them stay in a van in the garage so that his daughter could stay overnight. And that's where the girls started to kind of connect with each other and gain some trust with each other. But then when they split up again, he divided them against each other again, because he would say that he would just create mistrust among each other. So nobody could trust anybody. It was just obviously a horrible, horrible, horrible situation. But, you know, what we do, we have the benefit of knowing that they escaped. We have the benefit of knowing that there's somewhat, you know, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But we just finished these, you know, this really harrowing chapter where all this huge heaviness happened. And now there's a baby in the mix. There is this child, which, you know, brings children bring happiness. You know, they just do. They bring happiness to practically any situation, right? So that's a very complicated situation. And one of the reasons I really wanted to get into this is because, you know, when you think about all the other missing children out there in the high profile case of Sebastian Rogers, what if he is alive and he's being held captive and he's seeing all this stuff that's playing out on social media? Or, you know, other children are out there and they're being held captive and they're seeing that there's only one kid really being talked about. You know, how does it feel for them? How does it feel for them? So that's why books like this and research like this and getting inside of the minds of real victims, not trying to pretend like we know what it would be like, that's why it's important to me. So just wanted to kind of introduce the whole reasoning behind that. But real quickly, Cinnamon, did you have a good trip to Houston?
Yeah. It was dramatic because on the last Tuesday, it snowed. And
that's right. I saw that. Yeah.
It was crazy. It was so crazy. They got maybe, I don't know, a couple inches of snow, and the whole town shut down. Everyone stayed home. No one drove anywhere. It was just completely, they were immobilized. And so it threw a wrench into our plans. We had a number of events planned, and it threw a wrench into that. But it all worked out okay. And I'm glad to be home. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you made it home safely.
Yes, thank you. I missed you guys last week.
Yeah, I missed you all too. I've been looking forward to getting back started. So I'm pretty sure we're at the right place here, because a note to readers. Yeah, this is wait, is this the right place? Huh. I'm pretty sure we're in the right place, because it kind of looks like we're not in the right place. Wait a minute. What happened here? It looks like I lost my place a little bit.
That's okay.
Oh no. Maroon van part. Wait a minute. I don't know what happened here. Let me get us back to the right place here. Oh, I think, okay, let me take this off screen so I can get us back to the right place. Sorry, everybody. I'm not sure what happened.
I think we're starting, Lynn, with part 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Part 3?
Yeah, try there.
All right, let me, hold on one moment, please. Let me get this off screen so I can search for it without you guys having to, without the spoiler alerts. That's what I'm talking about, is the spoiler alerts. Hold on a sec. Let's see here. No, that's not it. What the funny thing is, what's happening is that Kindle is not giving me like the functioning, you know what I mean, to say part 3. No, I think I might have been in the right place, but it just didn't look like the right place.
Let's see.
Did you say part 3?
I think it's part 3, and the chapter starts with February 2007. Moving is the title of the section.
Okay.
And I think we left off where Amanda had her baby,
Yeah.
and she was worried because the baby wasn't latching on and feeding. And I think at the end of that last chapter, she finally does latch on. And she ends by saying, "Someday I'm going to have a lot to explain to her." Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing. Okay, wait. Yep, I'm getting closer to where we were. Yep. Back to the basement. Yep. Huh. Okay, I'm almost there, everybody. Very, very sorry.
We hear you turning a lot of pages.
Yeah.
Digital pages.
Digital pages. Okay, did you say part 2?
Part 3.
Oh. Huh. Because, okay. Gosh darn it.
No worries.
Something weird is happening.
With your Kindle?
Yeah, because something very like something odd happened because it goes from part 2 to part 1. I'm sorry, it goes from part. Okay, hold on a sec. I see my mom on the new news. That you know what? It's almost as if
I wonder if the Kindle version is because I have the paperback version in front of me. So I'm wondering if the Kindle version is different than the paperback version. That would be odd.
Did we read Cops at the Door? Wait. I don't know what's happened here. There's something here. I'm going to put this back on screen and show you what's happening. Okay.
Okay.
Because
it's weird.
Hey, everyone who's coming in. There's something weird going on where I can't find, I didn't change. I didn't touch the Kindle last time. Since we left last time. And now I can't, but when I went to go read, it seemed to be in a different place. And now I can't find my place. And the Kindle isn't allowing me to, the website isn't allowing me to go to a
chapter or a section.
A menu or a section or anything, and it used to show me that.
That's so weird. Let's see. Where are you here? Let me see if I can find where you are.
Day 2005 Broken Heart. See, it's my third Christmas here, and then I remember this where it says September 6th, everyone in this house is a liar. I remember reading that.
Right.
And then the next page is August 30th. And
right.
And then it goes all the way to December when she has the baby, right?
Okay, so it's right after that.
Yeah. Psychic fallout. And then she has the baby. There's the interviewer, Ariel Castro, the interviewer, right?
Right.
We went through that. And then she's right. This is wait. April 2004, early days.
Yeah, we went through that. So if you come across Christmas Day 2005, Broken Heart, and go through that, then the chapter,
I think what I might need to do is refresh this.
Okay.
There it is. Okay. Here we are. All right. I refreshed it. Now it's giving me, all right, here we go. Did you say
part three? Part three. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Breath. Take a breath.
Jeez. Okay.
There we go.
February 20th, 2007, moving.
Right.
All right. So why don't you go ahead and start reading?
Okay. I'm happy to. All right. February 2007, moving. Less than a month after Luana Miller died, new tenants moved into the second floor apartment she had shared with Amanda. For Beth and Teddy, it became simply too sad having strangers living upstairs. So, just less than a year later, they moved to a new house on West 129th Street. They put up photos of Luana and Amanda and hung missing posters on the porch. Beth had not been well and was dropping weight. She had been diagnosed with Crohn's disease when she was 17, and it had recently been flaring up. She was unable to work, and she and Teddy were struggling to pay the rent and raise their 3 kids. Still, nearly 4 years after her sister vanished, they continued passing out flyers about Amanda in every store they visited, hoping to keep her disappearance in the news. Beth believed that Amanda was alive and just might be watching TV. She was grateful that her new friends, Nancy Ruiz and Felix DeJesus, were spreading the word even more widely. They were as certain that Gina was still alive as she was about Amanda, and they seemed inexhaustible. June 2007, Finding a Voice. Wealthier families who had missing children often drew media attention to their cause by offering huge rewards. But because Gina's family had little money, Nancy found other ways to keep her daughter's case in the public eye. She sewed a big banner that read, "The Missing," and set up
Oh, go ahead and read till the end of the sentence. I got some feedback of how it's a little awkward when we...
Oh, okay, sure.
Turn the page and read to the end of the sentence. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
So, set up a
booth at events like Cleveland's annual Night Out Against Crime, where hundreds of people gathered.
She traveled to missing children events in Akron and Columbus and marched down busy Cleveland streets with the Guardian Angels, once coming with a block of Ariel Castro's house, within a block of Ariel Castro's house, chanting, "Who do we want? Gina. When do we want her? Now." Oh my gosh. She learned from a friend about the work of Dennis Bear, a former minor league baseball pitcher who had started Bear Find, an organization dedicated to bringing home missing children. Bear had been featuring Gina's photo and a description in one of his poster campaigns in minor league ballparks. When Nancy called to thank him, the two struck up a friendship and started working together. Nancy handed out flyers with pictures of Gina and other missing kids at ballparks around Ohio and Pennsylvania, even throwing out a couple of ceremonial first pitches, anything to keep people looking for Gina. On June 24, 2007, the Cleveland Cavaliers featured Gina's and Amanda's pictures on their giant display screen during Game 4 of the NBA Finals. With LeBron James trying to keep the San Antonio Spurs from sweeping the series, the girls' photos were seen by a huge national TV audience. Nancy stood outside the arena and gave interviews to local TV stations. No longer terrified of the microphone, she was committed to the cause of missing children.
Spring 2007, digging a grave. Gina, come downstairs, he orders. Why? Just come downstairs. It always makes me nervous when he tells me that because it usually ends the same way. But I have no choice. This time, though, when we get to the kitchen, he surprises me. I need you to help me bury the dog, he says. Poor Kashla. She was a big brown pit bull that he kept chained outside in the driveway, and last week he backed over her accidentally with his car. Oh, gosh.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh.
Accidentally?
Accidentally. The stupid dog saw me coming and didn't move, he said. Typical. It was the dog's fault. Kasha lived for a few days afterward, but then she stopped eating and died. He threw her body in the garbage can outside, where it's been since yesterday. I bet he's worried because you're not supposed to put dead animals in the trash, and the garbage men might report him. I have to disguise you, he tells me, handing me a jacket, a black wig, sunglasses, a white surgical mask, and a cowboy hat. The getup is so completely over the top that it'll probably attract more attention than just dressing normally. Who knows? Maybe I'll get lucky and somebody will see me and think it's so weird that they call the cops. It's about noon when we start digging with 2 shovels he got from the garage. I think he picked me to help him because I'm the strongest, and he knows I love dogs. It's more like a used car lot than a yard out here, and the ground is hard and packed down from all the cars that have driven over it.
It's cold and drizzly, and we chip away at it for hours. He drags the garbage can over and dumps Kashla's body into the hole. We start shoveling the dirt on top of her, and I quietly tell her that I'm sorry. She deserved better than to die in this awful place. Oh my God. June 2007, seamstress. Gina. I really like the t-shirt he bought me at a thrift shop that says young and angry across the front. It used to fit me, but I've lost a lot of weight and now it's too big. So I cut out the words, glue them on the construction paper, and tape the piece to my wall. That's me. I am young and angry. I am young and I am angry. I have a hole in my jogging pants, so I ask him for a needle and thread to start sewing. When I'm done, he says I did a good job, and he never says anything nice. Can you sew those buttons back on? He asks, handing me a shirt and the popped buttons. I do quickly and then stitch a ripped blanket too. I like sewing. I taught myself in here, and it's fun and makes time move faster. I suddenly think of a million more things I can fix and what I can do with the secondhand shirts and dresses he has bought us. They will look a lot better if they're not 4 sizes too big. He says he'll get me more thread, and I hope he hurries up about it. October 2007, A Place to Crawl, Amanda.
Finally, after almost 10 months, he brings in a piece of burgundy carpet to cover my floor. I wish it was softer, not the cheap industrial kind for offices, but at least it's brand new and smells good. I hold Jocelyn while he and Gina move the bed and lay down the carpet that will widen Jocelyn's world. Joss is 10 months old and needs space to crawl. Since she was born, I've been keeping her on the bed because I don't want her on the dirty floor. He's in and out of here all the time with his muddy boots, and I'm worried about Joss picking up germs. He nailed a purple foam exercise mat over my door to the hallway to muffle any sound in case he had people downstairs. Then he screwed 2 wooden doors over my bedroom windows so nobody outside could hear Jocelyn crying. I covered the doors with a shower curtain that has cute green frogs on it, and I pasted hearts, triangles, and other shapes on the foam so it looks like a classroom. I don't want my daughter to know she's growing up in prison. I read that babies are supposed to start eating solid food when they are 6 months old, but he says baby food is too expensive. I tried to give her watermelon and mushed up beans, but she spit them out. Thank God she keeps taking breast milk. He rapes me less since she was born, but he hasn't stopped. He just waits until Jocelyn falls asleep, then he climbs in the bed. It makes me sick that he does this to me with my daughter lying next to me. I am only safe when she's awake. I can see he's fallen in love with her. He calls her pretty. He shifted my furniture around so that even with the chain, I can sit in the rocking chair. The seat is busted, so I put a pillow on top of it, rocking and feeding Joss for hours. He comes home from work almost every afternoon on his lunch break, sits in the rocker, and holds her, making sweet baby talk and sometimes singing her to sleep.
She's my life now, he says. He made a little mobile out of it, out of string and plastic Easter eggs, and hung it from the ceiling over the bed where Joss and I sleep. He even broke down and bought her some baby supplies. He came back from Unique with 2 blankets and a little bouncy chair. He shops at the thrift shop on Monday when everything is half off, so the cheap stuff is even cheaper. I found a strange looking bag in the freezer and asked what it was, and he told me it was my placenta. Oh, God. I couldn't believe it. He keeps everything. He said he was afraid that if he threw it away, the garbage men might see it and get suspicious. Joss loves crawling on the new carpet, but now I have new challenges because my chain only reaches so far. If she strays too far from the bed, I can't reach her and need to coax her to crawl back to me, and I need to keep her away from the plastic toilet. It's so gross. Gina. I pick up the little cooler filled with Jocelyn's dirty diapers and bring it downstairs. Amanda has the baby, and he and Michelle are always fighting. So I do most of the laundry and cleaning in the house. It's like I'm the maid. But most of the time I don't mind because it gives me something to do, and it's better than watching TV all day. I hand wash the diapers and baby clothes in the bathroom sink. Jocelyn is too big now for using socks as diapers, so he cuts up old towels and gives Amanda a couple of safety pins. He also put a little plastic cooler in her room, big enough for a 6-pack to store the dirty ones and help with the smell. When the clothes are washed, I bring them upstairs and Amanda helps me hang them on clotheslines he has strung across her room.
I like helping out with Jocelyn and playing with her. She's so cute with her dark brown eyes and long, beautiful eyelashes. I make her laugh and she makes me forget where I am. Amanda and I have been talking more since I've been helping with the baby, and she is nicer to me. He's in a better mood these days, too, and that's good for all of us. Life is better with Jocelyn here.
Wow. Wow. The dog story.
Oh my gosh.
He backed over a dog
And
and
it was the dog's fault for not getting
blamed
out of the way.
dog.
I know.
Oh my God.
It's
Whoa. Horrible. I mean,
heartbreaking.
as if we didn't already know he's a horrible, horrible, deplorable human being. Sadistic, insane human being. But he backs over a dog and blames it on the dog. And then puts the dog's remains in a garbage. Unfreaking believable. Just unfreaking believable. And then the idea of having to mother your child in chains. In chains. I don't know how these girls. I don't know how this girl did it. I mean, I guess we're seeing how she did it, but my God. But and you can see how the baby just helped their lives go better, though.
The human spirit can be so resilient. I mean, I was reading the part about the doors over the windows and her putting up a shower curtain with little frogs and triangles to make it look like a classroom was just heartbreaking. But also at the same time, you can see how they're trying to find bright spots and ways to make their lives a little bit better. Yeah. And the baby, for sure, has made everybody happier.
Yeah. And nesting and nurturing, she was being a true mother.
Right.
She was doing everything she could to make her baby's life as normal as possible under the circumstances. And, having to make diapers out of towels and safety pins and unbelievable. Well, I'm down for continuing to read if you are.
Sure. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, let me just fix this. Okay. Castro story, neighborly. Ariel Castro's shabby two-story house stood on a short block of Seymour Avenue that connects two major thoroughfares, West 25th Street and Scranton Road, an unremarkable stretch of urban neglect, more shortcut than destination. The neighborhood butts up against trendy comeback areas where young professionals restore historic homes and cafes sell $12 a glass Pinot Noirs. The white wooden house, built in 1890, that's old, was valued at $36,000 in 2012 and was one of the tidier ones on the street. Police paid more attention to the bandos, abandoned houses that the desperate would break into and steal wire and copper pipe from to get quick cash for crack or heroin. The house at 2207 Seymour was flanked on one side by a house where four men, including a restaurant dishwasher named Charles Ramsey, each paid $75 a week to rent a room, and on the other side by a home that became a bando when a Puerto Rican family moved out around 2009. A century-old red brick apartment building, the Vera, sat derelict across the street. Horst Hoyer had been pastor at the Emmanuel Lutheran Church four doors down from the Castro house for 57 years before he retired in 2013. He recalled that German immigrants dominated the neighborhood when he arrived in the 1950s, and his church still offers Sunday services in German. But the neighborhood is now a mix of races and ethnicities after successive waves of newcomers settled there from the American South, as well as Hispanics from Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. Hoyer said it is not as cohesive as it was when a single immigrant group dominated. The block still has a handful of longtime residents, but today it is mostly home to itinerant, low-income people.
Castro moved on to Seymour in 1992 and was well known on the block. Several neighbors remembered the days when he would walk down to the corner of West 25th Street with his young children to buy candy at his uncle's Carib grocery. In addition to family photos, the market's walls were covered with photos of political figures, including one of Bill and Hillary Clinton, with a handwritten note from Bill Clinton thanking Ceci for donating to his presidential campaign. Many people hung out there and remember talking to Castro. After Castro and Nilda split in 1996, neighbors said they didn't see him as much, although they often saw his big yellow school bus parked on the street around lunchtime. Castro became increasingly private, and his house was almost always dark at night. From the outside, it did not look boarded up, but simply as if the drapes had been drawn because he had hung curtains over the windows before he nailed wood over them from the inside. Aurora Marty, who lived across the street from Castro for more than 20 years, was touched when he stopped by to offer condolences after her husband died. Henrietta Bell, a neighbor for 13 years who lived in a house built by the nonprofit group Habitat for Humanity, saw Castro outside talking to neighbors now and then and doing yard work on summer evenings. It was a nuisance when he parked his school bus in front of her house, but not enough to complain. Bella was more concerned about the addicts breaking into the Vera apartment building, which was next door to her home, and police came to the street several times in response to her calls. Shortly after Charles Ramsey moved in next door to Castro in October 2012, Castro came knocking at 2 in the morning to complain about Ramsey playing loud music.
"Hey, I know you just moved in," Castro told him, "but I have to get up early to drive the school bus." Not long afterward, he told Ramsey that a light bulb was missing from his front porch, and he suspected that someone was stealing from him. "I need you to watch my property," he told Ramsey. Castro was friendly enough with Ramsey, but made it clear that no one was welcome on his property. He would occasionally barbecue in his backyard and bring a plate to Ramsey, but never invited him over. Castro played regularly in bands at Belinda's nightclub at West 96th Street and Madison Avenue. That building is a symbol of the changing face of Cleveland's immigrant communities. For decades, it had housed the West Side Irish American Club, but as the Irish immigrated to the suburbs, Spanish-speaking immigrants moved in, and the music turned from Celtic So is Kyle? Oh my gosh, I've never seen that word. Celtic to salsa and merengue. If anyone can sound that out for me in the chat, I would welcome that. William Perez, owner of Belinda's, thought it was unusual that Castro would buy huge amounts of food from the club to take home at 3 a.m. after a gig. He struck Perez as odd and a little hard to work with, but otherwise unremarkable. Altagracia Tejeda, an immigrant from the Dominican Republic who lived directly across from Castro, recalled that Castro once invited her entire family to see his band play at Belinda's. She said Castro liked her homemade popsicles and bought them when she set up her stand on her front porch on hot summer days. One day, Tejeda saw a woman behind Castro's house. She had long hair and big dark sunglasses, and Tejeda assumed that Castro finally had a girlfriend after all these years.
March 23, 2008, Easter. Amanda. What have you got there, pretty? He asked Jocelyn from behind the video camera. Is that candy? Tell Daddy what you have. He is sitting on the floor of our room recording her. I had begged him to take photos of her so that someday she would have pictures of herself growing up, but he said he couldn't risk developing them in a store. What if someone asked who she was? Get a Polaroid and you don't have to worry about that, I told him. He soon found a Polaroid camera at a yard sale, but then had trouble finding film for it. So he settled for an old video camera and started recording his little girl taking her first steps and today enjoying her first Easter basket. He let me look through the piles of things scattered all over this house, and I found a purple plastic Easter basket that one of his kids must have had. I made a butterfly out of purple felt and black pipe cleaners and attached it to the handle. Butterflies still remind me of my mom, and I want her to be part of this holiday. Joss looked so adorable in the pink dress, white shoes, and white lace socks he bought her. I gathered the wisp of her hair on top of her head into a scrunchie so she looked like Pebbles Flintstone. She yanks it out while he's filming, and he and I both laugh. Where are your eyes? He asks her, and she covers them with her little hands. She sits down to examine her basket and the colorful plastic eggs and candy in it, and takes out a big Hershey's bar and tries to eat it with the wrapper on. I help her open it, and he starts singing, la, 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 la. Pretty, sing, he says, la, 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 la.
She smiles. It's a peaceful, happy moment for us all. April 22nd, 2008, milestones. Amanda. I know they call them the terrible twos, but it's more like the exhausting twos. Joss has so much energy that it's overwhelming and hard to keep her occupied every minute in such a confined space. We play games, color, draw, read books, and when I need a break, watch cartoons. He took a piece of an old crib and made a gate and rigged up a plastic kiddie swing in the doorway between our room and Gina and Michelle's. He loves the swing, and Gina pushes her on it too. I'm always thinking of ways to keep her busy, to pass the hours and days in this room. And usually when she takes a nap, I crash too. Physically and mentally exhausted. I dream of going outside, pushing her in a stroller, around a park or a mall, and watching her play with other toddlers. Joss has never even been outdoors yet. I'm trying to get her on a schedule, but it's tough. We have no natural light in the room, so there's little difference between morning and night. That makes it harder to get up and go to sleep at the same time every day. She has started saying a few words, mama and dada and nose. She loves to touch her nose. I marked down her milestones in my diary. December 13th, she took her first step holding onto the bed. February 2nd, she started walking by herself.
February 15th, she had her first high fever. This was the first time she was really sick, but she took some medicine and the fever broke the next day. He's been better to me. He still comes for me when she's asleep. It's not exactly like it used to be since I have learned to accept it. I still consider it rape because what else do you call sex with a prisoner on a chain? But it's not like it was before, not so rough and angry and hateful. He tries to make it easier for me. I know it's wrong, but I feel closer to him. I appreciate that he treats Jocelyn well and buys her clothes and toys. He loves Daisy, the big doll he just brought her. He's even giving us better food and put a microwave on my dresser so I can warm up her mashed potatoes, beans, and rice. We all sit and watch kid movies together, and it almost feels normal, or at least a lot better than it used to. I desperately want Jocelyn to have a normal life, and on the days that he helps me to do that, I actually feel some affection for him. He tells me that we have a special relationship because of her. He says he only wants to be with me, not the other girls, but I don't believe that. Just when I start thinking there is good in him, he reminds me of how cruel he can be. Yesterday, he called me an N-loving bitch because I wouldn't call Black people the N-word like he does. He actually took my radio away as punishment for catching me listening to rap, which he calls that Black music. I hate it when he treats me like a child and calls me names. I'm so confused. How can he be so good one minute and so mean the next? Today is my 22nd birthday. I've been here for 5 years, and I'm spending the day trying not to let Jocelyn see my tears.
Thanks for catching that and not saying the word. Yeah. June 12th, 2008, pulled over. A little after 8:30 p.m., Cleveland police officer Jim Simone was sitting in traffic on Pearl Road, about a mile from Seymour Avenue, when a motorcycle whizzed by on his right, cut across traffic, and pulled into a gas station. Simone noticed that the motorcycle's license plate wasn't attached correctly and was hanging sideways, which is illegal. He followed the rider into the Shell station and pulled up behind him with his dashboard camera running. The rider, wearing a white tank top and baggy shorts, stepped off his bike at the pumps and noticed the police car behind him. "Let me see your driver's license," Simone said. "Excuse me?" Ariel Castro asked. "Let me see your driver's license, please." "What's wrong?" "First off, your plate's improperly displayed. It has to be displayed left to right, not upside down or sideways." Castro produced his driver's license, and Simone saw that he wasn't licensed to operate a motorcycle. He recognized Castro's name. He'd been a Cleveland cop since 1973 and remembered having written up Castro's brothers for traffic violations over the years. He had also driven down Seymour Avenue thousands of times. Simone noticed that Castro's license plate was registered to a Harley Davidson, not the Yamaha he was riding. Castro wasn't wearing eye protection, which was also illegal. Simone told him that all his violations could add up to serious trouble, warning him, "You subject yourself to being arrested. Is that what you want?" "No, sir," Castro replied. "I don't want that."
These plates don't belong to this bike, do they? What year Yamaha is this? This is 2000. Where's the Harley? Oh, the Harley. I sold it and I traded it in for this one. Well, Ariel, Simone said, you keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper. I know, Castro replied, but I just got off work. I'm a school bus driver. The school year had, in fact, ended the week before. Simone was known as one of the toughest cops in Cleveland because he had shot and killed 5 people and been shot twice himself over the course of his long career. He could have arrested Castro, but Castro was being polite and compliant, and Simone knew that an arrest could cost him his job as a bus driver. So he decided to cut him a break and wrote him 2 tickets, one for the improperly attached plate and one for driving without a motorcycle license. He told Castro to push the motorcycle the mile home to Seymour Avenue and wondered if Castro would wait until he was out of sight to hop back on the bike. But about 20 minutes later, Simone spotted him well up Pearl Road, still pushing.
Wow. It's frustrating to hear how many times they get close to him. The cops get close to him. They were marching down his street, yelling, "Who do we want, Gina? When do we want her now?" or something like that.
Right.
And they're so close, and they're driving by his house all the time. This is all the stuff that could be happening in true crime cases right now, and even in Sebastian's case.
Right. Right.
It's so frustrating. And thank you, Patricia, for that. Kaylee, or wait, let me make sure I'm saying that. Yeah, Kaylee. So just as a fun little side story, I worked with this woman who, it took me the longest time to figure out how to say her name, because her name was pronounced Kalakde, but it wasn't spelled anywhere near that, right? Because it was Irish, it was Gaelic. And so I kept saying Kaleech. Oh man, I felt so bad because I feel it's really important to know how to pronounce people's names correctly and to pronounce words correctly, especially when you're in communications. Hey, Liberty. So, um, anyway, I think Gaelic is one of the hardest languages to like see and pronounce, right?
Because it doesn't look anything like it's spelled.
Yeah, like
it doesn't sound anything like it's spelled.
like Siobhan in Gaelic is spelled Siobhan,
right,
but it's pronounced Siobhan. Yeah.
right.
Anyway, so I want to keep reading. Do you?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I think it's your turn. I stopped.
Is it? Okay. June 2008, new names. Amanda. You have to pick different names, he says. Jocelyn can't know your real names. All three of us are in the kitchen washing dishes. Jocelyn is watching cartoons in the living room. He says now that Jocelyn can talk, he doesn't want her to repeat our names. He says he might want to take her outside at some point, and he's afraid that she might mention Amanda or Gina and make someone suspicious. What do you want to be called? He asks. When none of us has any ideas, he suggests to Gina, how about Hazel? No, she says, making a face. I'm not going to be Hazel. I'll be Chelsea. We've been watching Days of Our Lives a lot, and there's a character on that show named Chelsea. Michelle picks Juju. He's been referring to me as Nandy for years, ever since he listened to the voice messages on my cell phone just after he kidnapped me and heard Mariah calling me that. So he decides that I'm now officially Nandy. It's going to be hard to get in the habit of calling Gina and Michelle by their new names, and I don't want Jocelyn or me to get in trouble, so I start practicing Chelsea and Juju over and over in my head. September 2008, Night Terrors. Amanda.
Chelsea and Juju. I jolt awake. Jocelyn is howling again. She jumps out of bed and starts running around the room, screaming like she's on fire. She's been doing this a lot lately in the middle of the night. I don't know what's going on. I try to catch her, but sometimes I can't reach her because of my chain. Baby, what's wrong? Come here, Joss, I keep saying. It's all right. It's hard to calm her down, and he comes charging up the stairs and unlocks our door. Keep her quiet. I'm trying. I know he's afraid that the neighbors are going to hear her, and he picks her up, saying softly, "It's okay, my love." When she keeps screaming and squirms away, he unlocks my chain so I can help, and we take Jocelyn into Gina and Michelle's room. They are wide awake and used to this by now. The room is the furthest away from any neighbors, and he has already nailed up more plastic and blankets over their window to muffle Jocelyn's night screams. He turns the radio up even louder, which is not going to soothe her, but it might mask her shouting. We're both trying to calm Joss, stroking her hair and telling her everything is okay. It takes half an hour, but she finally quiets down and we dry her tears. I lie back down on the bed with her in my arms. I don't know what's giving Jocelyn these night terrors. He's alone with her sometimes, but I don't believe he would harm her in any way. He loves her so much. I know she's afraid of the closet, which has no door, because she thinks it's dark and spooky. Even though I try to shield her from what's going on in this house, I'm worried that she can sense the misery here.
November 4th, 2008, President. Amanda. We have a new president, Barack Obama. I never thought a Black man would be elected. It's so exciting. It's history. I wish I could have voted. He sat with me to watch the election returns in the living room tonight, and we waited for Obama to come out and give his acceptance speech in Chicago. Ugh. I'm afraid to say out loud that I'm happy that Obama won. He has been grumbling about so many Black people moving into this neighborhood. I voted for Obama, he says. Really? I ask, trying not to show my surprise. Yeah, I voted for him because the other guy is worse. I never know what he's going to do. He forbids me and Gina and Michelle from watching TV shows with Black actors, but then votes for a Black president. I don't get him. January 9th, 2009, Encounter. Amanda. I talked to Beth today, he says. You did? I ask him, shocked. Where? We were at Mark's. She was in line in front of me, buying sprinkles to put on a cake. I asked her if she wanted a water since I was putting one back, and she said, no, thank you, honey. Honey? Beth called him honey? That makes me sick. I know he spoke to her just for the thrill, just so he could tell me that he did it.
She had a little pin with your picture stuck to her purse, he says, taunting me. He loves feeling like he's getting away with this, that nobody has any clue. February 16th, 2009, shove. Amanda. He's standing at the door. I need Chelsea to come downstairs and clean, he says to us. I know what he's going to do with her down there. Does he think I'm stupid? I'm so tired of him lying to me and sneaking around like a snake. Gina has told me what happens when he asks her to quote unquote clean, and she has asked me if I could try to stop him. She says he listens to me. As he takes her by the arm to lead her downstairs, I stand up with Joss in my arms and block the door to the hallway. I know what you really want with her, I say. If you want to clean, I'll come downstairs and help too. Shut up, he says. She's coming with me. No, if she's going, I'm going too. I'm standing right in front of him, looking up into his eyes. I'm mad and he's getting furious. Get out of my face, he shouts. No, I shout back. I'm coming downstairs. He shoves me hard and I fly backward onto the bed with Joss still in my arms. She is startled and starts crying. I'm stunned. He's never done anything like that before in front of Jocelyn. Shut up and stay here, he yells, slamming the door.
June 2009, bracelet. Amanda. It's Sunday night, close to midnight. Jocelyn is still up watching TV. He just left our room and didn't chain me. I guess he's coming back, or could he just forgotten? He's home on Saturday and Sunday. He started leaving us off the chains, a welcome bit of freedom. It's less hassle for him because he wants us to go downstairs to clean and wash clothes, and he doesn't have to keep locking and unlocking us. But when he leaves the house or goes to bed, he never forgets to chain us. Maybe Jocelyn was still up. He didn't want her to see him put the chains around my ankle. It's harder and harder to hide them from her. She's 2.5 now and starting to ask questions. Like the other day when the pink blanket I had covering my chains slipped off. What's that? She asked. It's my bracelet, I said as casually as I could. We haven't talked about it, but I can tell he doesn't like Jocelyn seeing that he locks us up, and he knows the chains make it harder for me to take care of her. He was in our room the other day, and Jocelyn was in the far corner and wanted me to come play with her, but she was a couple of feet beyond my reach. Our door opens, and he walks straight through our room and into Gina and Michelle's bedroom. I can hear him chaining them up. Then he comes to us. Good night, pretty. Give Daddy a hug, he says, giving Joss a big squeeze. Then he leaves and locks my door from the outside. I catch my breath. He didn't chain me.
I turn off the light and snuggle up with my baby. It's been 6.5 years since I've been able to fall asleep without being shackled. Gina, this is how messed up things are here. Today, he didn't chain me and Michelle, and instead of being happy, I'm scared. I noticed a couple weeks ago that Amanda was unchained, but just because he took hers off, it doesn't mean he'll take mine off. He has different rules for each of us. I wonder if I should remind him to lock me up, because if he gets mad when he realizes he forgot, he'll take it out on us. He'll smack me and yell about how he can't trust me, or maybe put me in the basement. He'll make it my fault. But it sure does feel good to walk around without dragging that rusting chain. Maybe it's not a mistake, I say to Michelle. Maybe he'll let us off the chains because of Jocelyn. He still locks the door, so he knows we can't go anywhere. Another day comes and he says nothing about the chains, then another, and no mention. Every time he comes in, I stay on my bed with my leg under the blanket so it's not obvious that I'm not chained. The room is tiny, so it's not like I have tons of room to move around, but now I can exercise. I start doing a few push-ups, sit-ups, and squats, and it feels great. I hide our chains under a piece of plastic so we don't have to look at them. It actually feels strange, like I'm suddenly missing a part of me, but it's wonderful strange. It's so much easier to sleep without the chain. I keep lifting my right leg and shaking my ankle. No sound. I love that the chain is gone, but somehow I don't feel free of it. I have bruises and scars on my right ankle that I'll probably have forever.
I don't have you on the chain anymore because I trust you, he finally says one day out of the blue. But if you do anything, it's going back on, and I will hang you upside down by your ankles. June 25th, 2009, Michael Jackson. Gina, Michael Jackson is dead. That's so sad. He walks in while we're watching the news about it. Good, he says. That's one less in on earth. God, he is so hateful.
My God.
Horrible.
Jesus Christ. Oh, this monster. So he'll call Michael Jackson an N, but he'll vote for Barack Obama because out of hate for the other guy.
Other guy, right.
And I'm not, please, nobody get political in the comments, please. I hate, but I'm just talking about the absolute hypocrisy of this monster. He's gone. He was an N. Oh my God. And those night terrors what was your immediate thought when you were reading that the baby was having night terrors?
Well, I think, it's like Patricia says here, something about the closet, perhaps. But, I mean, my youngest had night terrors when he was little, and we never figured out what it was. He had cramps in his legs sometimes, and that would wake him up, but it would turn into sort of this night terror. Anyway, I don't really know about that, but I was thinking, how horrible could it be that you have to raise your child in a room that has no air, no sunlight? The child doesn't get to go outside and play and, run around and get the right exercise, all of that. I can't help but think that somehow that has to affect, your well-being. And I don't know about children, and maybe the child didn't realize what she was missing. But at the same time, it just seems to me that being confined like that is not good for anyone's mental health. And it could produce all kinds of things.
Yeah. I'm struck by the book, The Body Keeps the Score, basically changed my life because it helped me to understand that our bodies don't just sense things through sight and sound and touch, but actually senses things through our nerves. Like our body senses things and remembers things. Okay. And it doesn't have to be registered by by us consciously. It can be completely registered just by our bodies, and then we feel it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. In fact, when I was traveling last week, I saw that book at the bookstore in the airport. I almost picked it up, and I didn't. I picked up a book about the 6 women astronauts that made history, right? Anyway, but that was I was going to pick up that book because I thought I need to know about this, because
You've never read that book, The Body?
I've never read it. I need to read it.
It was life-changing for me because it helped me understand why, like, there are certain things that I will just be around in public and I will feel something, but I won't. I'm like, why am I feeling this? Why am I feeling, like, for instance, there are some people, men, who I will feel nauseous around for no other reason than they remind me somehow of my dad. Or maybe they actually really do have some creepiness going on. I could never swear on it. I could never act on that, but my body feels it. right? And that's based on a traumatic experience that my body has held all this time. And you can't change that. You can't remove that from your body. It's always going to be there. And like, and something even as simple as like say you have to pee and then you turn on the water, you like turn on a faucet and you feel like you have to pee more. You know what I mean? That's like your body sensing that, not just by hearing it and seeing it. It's your body sensing it and going pee, pee, pee. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it is our brains and our nervous system is so intensely sensitive. And so many people don't understand that about their bodies and don't realize that their bodies and their brains are responding to stimulus that come from their past, if that makes sense. So it's fascinating. I highly, highly recommend. I've been recommending that book ever since I read it. It was so it helped understand me. It doesn't give solutions, it gives explanations. It gives very easy to understand scientific explanations for why our nervous system gives us fight flight responses to things. Yeah, we're born with a pattern of survival. That is what it is. It's survival instinct. It's survival instinct. It's what it's built into us, but it's not always conscious. We don't always consciously know what's happening. It's very subconscious in many. It's part of our autonomic nervous system, meaning that it's operating without us telling it to operate. So, but knowing it's there and knowing it's giving us signals, we need to listen to it. Doesn't mean it's telling us the truth. Like our interpretation of it may not be the truth. Like I could feel something and say, "Oh, that person's a creep," but that person may not be a creep. It's just something, a signal, right? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I have crowd anxiety.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when I'm in, it can be Costco. It can be like this event that I had to go to last week where there's tons of people and very loud music and, moderators on a stage, just a lot of noise. My system can't really take it so much anymore. And I feel the need to get out, get into quiet because it starts to really affect me, and I feel exhausted. I feel
yeah.
exhausted when I'm around too many people, when there's too much noise, and I remember the next day was the day that it snowed in Houston, so we couldn't really do anything, and I was kind of stuck in my hotel room. But I was grateful because it was quiet and I could rest.
Yeah.
And I was exhausted from that day before. But absolutely, and I've had the same feeling of being near certain people who make me feel there's something that it triggers something in me.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's that creep feeling. It's that get away, get away from this person, right? I don't know what it is, but it's absolutely there.
I have something about being around a lot of drunk people. It's like
Me too. Absolutely.
and so I don't have fun at late night bars. You
Me
know what I mean?
either.
With a
Nope.
bunch of drunk people. And I felt bad because I went to see my son for his it was Parents' Day at his fraternity. His first year of college, and I went. And that basically, though, if you haven't been to one of those, they basically just use that as another reason to party, and so
Absolutely.
so all the parents were there and all the college kids were there, and it was so fun meeting all his fraternity brothers, and it was so fun meeting all the other parents. But then literally they were all wasted by like 6 o'clock that night, and I was like, honey, I gotta go. I'm so sorry. I gotta go. He's like, Mom, we're still partying. I'm like, I know. I'm so sorry.
That's why I'm leaving.
Like a bunch of drunk people. It's just a catastrophe waiting to happen, and I don't want to be part of it.
Me too. I'm right there with you.
Psychologists say that deja vu is a prick to the survival pattern from a time we didn't have the capacity to verbalize or resolve an issue. Interesting. I've always wondered what deja vu is about. That's such a weird feeling. That is such a weird feeling. Like, I've been here before. I know this has happened before. What's happening to me? Well, this is a really well-written book. The authors who wrote it for them, I think they did a really good job putting this all together. And I do want to stop here, but I'm looking forward to continuing it. And I continue to be absolutely amazed. You too, Pistol Amy. Yeah. I continue to be amazed at the resilience of these young women. I mean, at what they went through, and I'm even more and more interested in reading Michelle's book, Michelle Knight. Michelle Knight was the other abductee who was saved when they all escaped, but she opted not to participate in this book and apparently wrote her own book. I probably won't read it right after this one because I'd like to kind of move on to a different type of book topic, but I am definitely interested in reading it. Yeah, I like how it's kind of put in timeline form, but it also, this book, but it also, I don't know, it's informative, and it tells kind of like it widens the scope into what's happening in the community while they're being held captain. So it goes inside the house, it goes outside the house. It documents his absolute sadism toward them, how horrible he is, the mind games, the psychological torture. I'm just really impressed. I'm impressed by the book. So anyway, I think that's all I wanted to say. I'm, as far as videos go, I am sort of tired of the Sebastian Rogers fuckery, to be honest with you. I was actually working on a whole different video, and then that one thing happened that I made my last video about, so I made that video. But I am really, really interested in making a storytelling with commentary video about true crime in history, in royal history.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because I think there are many true crimes in royal history. And in some cases, I think we could kind of track how it has affected our current lives. Like, for instance, the one that I'm most interested in making a video about right now, like, if this particular murder unaliving hadn't happened, it's possible that World War II wouldn't have started. I'm sorry, World War One. I mean,
wow.
you can, there's all kinds of ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's some, all kinds of derivations, but the point being that because this murder unaliving happened, it put another heir in place who was then assassinated, which started World War One. And the murder unaliving probably happened because of bad parenting. Yes, Patricia. So Franz Ferdinand, he wasn't going to be the emperor. It was going to be the person who did the murder suicide. And so, and the person who did I just don't have I would be saying his name, but I don't have it in my mind at this moment. It's Empress Elizabeth's son and Joseph Ferdinand and Joseph France and Empress Elizabeth's son committed murder unaliving, and he was supposed to be the next emperor, but then Franz Ferdinand was, and it was his assassination that caused World War I. Thank you, NJ. So I want to, and Franz Joseph and Empress Elizabeth were terrible parents. They were horrible parents. They were and I think most royal parents were terrible. I mean, if you really look at it, they were neglectful. They left their children for, years on end to be raised by completely different people. Most of the time they made them marry people they didn't love. With women, they made them marry older men who were like 1,000 years their senior when they were underage, all this stuff. So, there's just so many things. I really feel like, because my channel is about looking at how our behaviors and actions affect future generations. I want to look back at old generations and look at how we've been affected by those actions. Because if you really think about it, the royal families of, centuries ago heavily influenced the way we live today, the way we think, the way we live, our cultures, our customs, at least in the Western world. Well, all over the world, because royal families basically decreed how the rest of the world lived, no matter where you were, right? So I don't know if you agree with that.
I do agree with that. I think it's fascinating. I haven't ever thought about this. So you've opened up a whole new line of fascination for me. I welcome it. I think it would be great.
I think we talked about The Empress, that Netflix show.
Yes.
So
Loved it.
It's that family.
Right. Okay.
That's the family I'm talking about. It's her son who committed this murder unaliving that put Franz Ferdinand in place. And then Franz Ferdinand was assassinated, and that sparked World War I.
So interesting.
Yeah. And it's, it's very distant to us because it was so long ago for us. So it's kind of like, so I like to try to help people put the,
connect the dots. Yeah.
Connect the dots, because a lot of these names are like, who, what?
Who? Exactly.
Why does that matter? Well, most of these royal families, they were all related to each other too. Like Franz Ferdinand and that whole family and Empress, they were related to Queen Victoria. Right. And the royal English family, the royal British family. So the ones that we know more about, we tend to know more about here, So anyway, I know I'm going on and on and on. I'm fascinated with it. I don't know if it'll get any traction on my channel, but I did do a poll on my community post, and a lot of people said they'd be interested. So I'm going to try it out. So
I think it sounds great.
Good. Well, thank you again so much for being my lovely co-reader. And
I'm happy to be here always.
And thank you, KB. I'm glad that you agree. I will see you all next week. And I hope you all have a wonderful week and stay safe online and offline, and be nice. Be nice, y'all. Don't be jerks.
Be kind. Drink water.
Yeah, drink water. Drink water.
Drive slow.
Drive slow. Not too slow.
Not too slow. Yeah.
Thank you, Sunday Doodles.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.